Welcome, everybody. I see some familiar names on here. Welcome back. And those of you who are newer, welcome to our webinar. We're going to do, first, we're going to have a poll question come up just to kind of get to know where you guys are at with your experience with DealMachine. And then we're going to learn a lot about Hector. I'm going to tell you a little bit, but then have him talk. And then we will have a live Q&A. So Dakota, the gentleman right above me, is our trainer, and he is going to actually be bringing people up with the best questions for Hector, and you'll actually get Hector to answer them live. So huge opportunity here. Take advantage of it. And then we also have the wonderful AJ that you may also know, who's been with us since the beginning, who will answer your DealMachine questions in the chat. So wonderful again to have all of you. Dakota, if you want to go ahead, I feel like we can put up the poll. So if you guys don't mind answering this question of where you're at with DealMachine, are you brand spanking new? Are you still on the fence about us? You know, if maybe you aren't with us yet and you're just wondering what's this all about. We're hoping to answer that question. Also, at the end of this, at the 8 o'clock hour, we will do a demo of DealMachine, very high level demo of just kind of what we do. And then also links to our trainings that you guys can join for free to dive in more with that. Awesome. Great to have a lot of you who are members. Wonderful. Love it. And for those of you on the fence, I hope I hope we can answer your questions tonight to help see if DealMachine is the right thing for you right now. All right, we're going to give it about 5 more seconds for the poll, so feel free to answer that. Awesome. So good to see a lot of you in the fam. Phoenix, Philadelphia. Randy Lane just saw Dakota. Was he in a training of yours?
Yes, Randy was part of our custom mailer training here this afternoon. So
excellent. Love it. Good to see you, Randy. All right. I think we're going to, if you could cut out the music and the poll, we're going to get started here. Thanks, Dakota. Thank you, everyone who was part of the poll. Really appreciate it. So again, if you don't know, I just realized I didn't introduce myself. I'm Elise. I'm the head of community experience here at DealMachine. You may see me on our social. You may see me on our YouTube channel. Basically what I do is I work with our social channels, plus also with our training, like great guys like Dakota, to really make sure that we're being connected as a community here, not only in DealMachine, but as a real estate investing community. So really excited to have you all here, and really excited to have this wonderful gentleman, Hector, on. So a little bit about Hector, and then I'm going to shut up and let him talk. But Hector has done roughly 35 deals, and he does everything from wholesale, flipping, buy and hold. So he is a Swiss Army knife, guys. You guys all, I can't stress this enough. Ask your questions now. This guy has a ton of knowledge about everything. So he also has done 10 deals with DealMachine out of those 35. And then also he has about 29 drivers that drive for him for driving for dollars, 10 very active. And so we can go into that too if you're thinking about creating a team. Hector does 2 different types of pay structures for different people, which is really interesting. And I think something that a lot of people have questions on. But yeah, I just want to get started and say, welcome, Hector.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Excited to be with you guys today, and welcome everybody that's watching from all over the nation. So cool to see, this investing world bring so many people together. And, it's like, I feel like I have family everywhere because, everybody's can relate. So pretty cool to see. I saw somebody was in Woodstock, Georgia. So hey, we love to connect. We do some deals in Woodstock, and so somebody was in Houston, and that's pretty close to where we're, investing also. So feel free to connect. But I see Matt's on there. What's up, Matt? But yeah, so pretty excited to be here. Share a little bit about my story and how I got it started into in real estate. And it may sound like some of you guys, and everybody has their own path, but mine was just a corporate, corporate situation, like many people starting out in real estate investing. I was working for a bank, a national bank here in Georgia, Marietta, Georgia, and I was, had a pretty good salary, was making close to six figures. I was pretty happy with my job, and but it was a job. You know what I mean? I had to sit in traffic. I was living in Canton and traveling to Marietta sometimes before they built that bridge that's here. It took me like an hour to get there. It's very stressful driving back and forth, and I was there probably close to 6 years, and climbed my way up, the corporate ladder, if you will, and pretty much had a straightforward path to what my life could look like, being a financial advisor in the brokerage arena, and advising people on stock options and investments, and it was fun. I learned a lot about how you know stocks and all of that work, but I really started to see a trend on how most of my really wealthy clients, like, they were the ones that were in real estate. You know what I mean? They were the guys that were buying properties that would come in and like ask for cashier checks when that was a thing. They would take the cashier check to down to the courthouse and buy properties, the traditional way that they used to. And I just started asking questions and just was really interested, in how somebody could acquire, so many properties, and basically, the rent income was their living income, and that was their salary, and they were traveling the world, and these guys really inspired me, and they were super cool, down to earth, never wore a suit and tie. I had to wear a suit and tie every day, so kind of got tired of it. And a friend of mine was an entrepreneur. He came to see me at the bank, opened a couple accounts, and he asked me, he told me, you have so much potential. What are you doing here? Let's start a business together. So we actually did. I quit my job. I was pretty tired of it, and anyway, so I just took a leap of faith, and I said, you know what, I'm ready to make a leap of faith, and we started a mailbox business. So we were actually selling large communities mailboxes. So we would try to land contracts for large communities, 200, 300 mailboxes at a time. It gets pretty lucrative, but it still wasn't my thing. The partnership wasn't what I was looking for at the time, and the building we were in ended up being a building that we shared with a construction company. These guys were some of the coolest guys, most down-to-earth guys I've ever met, and they ran a multi-million dollar company out of an office building, and they did multi-family deals. So basically, they were in charge of the drywall and the paint for 300 units at a time, and they would land contracts, and that was their business, was drywall and paint. And so talking to them, getting to know them, they ended up finding out my background, and they offered me a job working, overseeing their finance department. And it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it, and it still wasn't my thing. And I saw them also have rental properties, and they were doing flipping on the side. And I got really interested, and I started asking questions, and just asking, hey, how do you do this, how do you do that, how do you run a budget, how do you do a rehab, where do you get the people from, how do you estimate your offer that you're going to send. And this was back in 2018, 2019. And I really started just asking questions, just how they were doing things. These guys operated in cash, so it's a lot easier for them to get into the real estate arena. And they were actually the ones that first lent me my first slew of money, if I can call it that, to help me get started in my journey. And they lend me, I remember, all of the money for the rehab that I needed for my first house, and it was a blessing, and I didn't ask for anything back. They were just like, we believe in you, and if this is what you want to do, we're going to help you out. And so, my mother-in-law was an agent at the time. We found a little house in Acworth, Georgia, and turned out to be a guy going back home to California. Didn't want the house anymore. It's really beat up. Had cat urine. It was horrible. And we went in there and made him a really low ball offer. At the time, the market wasn't as crazy as it is. The house had been sitting on the market for 30 days, which is unheard of right now. And long story short, he accepted our offer, and I went in there, got some guys that I knew from church and from the construction company, and just started saying, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do that?" And little by little, just started learning as I was doing. And you know, I'm not the guy to like read a book and apply, what I learned. I just have to learn by doing it. That's my way of learning. And so, I made close to $13,000 on that first deal, and I was stoked. It was amazing to see like this big check, come back plus the rehab money that I paid them, and it was a blessing. So when I saw that first check, it really inspired me, and I said, I got to do this. Like I got to go all in, and I started doing one at a time. Every 3 to 4 months, I was doing it by myself with my crew, and I got pretty good at it, understanding the market, just watching YouTube like everybody else, just trying to get as much information as I could. Excuse me. So then, shortly after, in 2020 is when I really took a leap of faith, and I sat down with the guys at the construction company. I said, "Hey, I really feel like I want to be my own boss. No disrespect. I honor you guys, and I appreciate everything you guys done." And they said, "We knew this was coming. Like you have what it takes. Go for it." And so they empowered me, and I took off running. And so I started finding deals on the market, networking with a lot of realtors. Every realtor that I would come in contact with, I would ask them questions. I would ask them to send me deals. I would sometimes take them out to eat lunch or whatever. I mean, I was really, really hungry, and I still am, but I was, just really motivated to network with everybody as much as I could. And yeah, so did that, and started doing now two at a time, and um, building more reputation. I got more private lenders now looking at seeing what I'm doing. A lot of my friends, wanted to invest 5,000, 10,000, 15,000,
Wow.
and little by little it just started growing. I had a little bit of cash on that was that I had saved up. I threw that into the business, and I just started, um, implementing some off-market strategies as far as finding deals, and wasn't really successful at the time. And just to wrap this little introduction up, I guess, during that time, I was basically just focusing on market deals because the market was still, good. And by the way, I just you can still find deals on the market. By the way, I just want to clarify that we just bought two on the market, so they are, there. You just have to have a really good agent that knows how to negotiate. Period. I'll leave it at that. And so, I was focused on market deals, and then I shifted to trying to find off market deals. And one of my friends from church, actually, his name is Vince, was already doing that. He was already targeting off market, properties and direct to seller. And he got really big into wholesaling, like I got really big into flipping. And so we had a conversation very loosely about partnering and doing stuff together. And a couple months went by, and we finally sat down again and said, "Hey, we need to make this happen. You're doing this, I'm doing this. I'm really good at flipping. I got construction costs down. I got contractors, and you got the wholesaling side. Let's combine them." So we joined forces in 2020, and we did probably a little over 20 deals together, and that's wholesales. We bought a rental. We ended up flipping a few, and yeah, we just took off from there. And right now, we've just been implementing a lot of outbound marketing, so texting, calling, um, mailers, all of that. And then we still do inbound marketing with our website and Facebook and, on market properties. And so right now probably done, I went back, Elise, and I kind of figured out how many deals we've done. And so we've done actually close to 20 deals already this year. So we'll definitely be over the goal, that we want to hit, which is 50 this year. And so we're moving right along, and it's been good. So, that's kind of my background, how I got into real estate, and it's been a blessing ever since. And, all that I would say is, it took a lot of people pushing me forward, just believing in me, and it wasn't a solo thing. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I like to hang out with the smartest guys in the room and just ask questions. And that's how I got here. I joined a coaching program, which I suggest everybody does. And, even the greatest players in the NBA, football, they have coaches, right? So I believe in that. And that's what's helped me get to where I am today.
I love it. And this is when we open it up to a live Q&A, but I actually have two questions, and this is after we've talked and everything. But as you were talking, I'm like, two things. One, you said like making a relationship with a realtor is like extremely important, and you made a ton of relationships, it sounds like, with realtors. Why didn't you get your license? That would be my next question.
That's a great question. A lot of people ask me that. And I actually, yeah, so I'll just say it like this. A lot of people ask me that, and I just say that I like being my own boss. I don't like people telling me what to do or just feeling like I need to respond to somebody like a broker. And no, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, I do better when I'm by myself and I set my own goals and I'm really aggressive at it. So then another thing is I have another mentor of mine, Brian Davila. He says it like this: if you're a top performing agent, you're gonna have to work on Saturdays and Sundays. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times, like, you have to be on your client's time. And I just didn't want to do that. I didn't want to work the weekends. I didn't want to work after 5. And so investing was right for me because I get to control my schedule. And in the beginning, yeah, it was like I had to work a little bit past 5. I had to put in some late nights, maybe go see a property on Saturday, but I was pretty adamant that I wasn't going to do that forever. And now, I work um, very little as opposed to, what I would be working, as if I was a realtor, to be honest.
Well, because and you've just like scaled this so well that it's now where you can step back. But I just want
Yeah.
everyone to know Hector still does drive, and
Yeah.
like he does get out there and drive. He just, you said you were in San Antonio and you guys added like 100 in a day.
Yeah, it was like 102 just in a few hours in downtown San Antonio. And yeah, I don't have to, but I do it because I like to and because I'm always on the road anyway, so might as well use my time. So you're gonna catch me on my phone anyway, so might as well add a property.
You're being
So
very proactive and
exactly.
you're utilizing your time.
Yeah.
My favorite question to ask is, what is, just if anyone missed out on the Instagram video, but what is your why?
Yeah, so my why is to leave a legacy behind. My why is to create generational wealth. I don't think generational wealth comes just because somebody in the generations, has to take action. For me, I wasn't fortunate enough that I had, my forefathers or my father or my grandfather leave a legacy and or any wealth behind. And I decided, and my brother too, we talk about this all the time, that we were going to be the ones to leave wealth behind and to leave a legacy. And it's not just monetary, it's a legacy of hard work, dedication, and it's a legacy of, we are going to make a difference in this world. We're going to bless as many people as we can. We're going to employ people. We're going to make a difference. Right now I'm helping a single mom that can't afford traditional housing, and I stepped in to buy the house to be able to, rent it back to her. And, our goal, I say our because it's a family thing, is just to leave a legacy behind. So that's my why. That's my motivation. Money is great and you're always going to be able to make money, but if you don't have a bigger motive, I think you'll lose steam really fast and you don't have a laser focus.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I love it. Okay, Dakota, I won't take up any more of the other people's questions, but do we have someone that you want to bring up?
We do. We've got a few, so I'm going to bring up a couple people, and we'll go kind of in line. First, we're going to bring up Mr. Mark Sumter. Let's get him over to the panelist side here.
And as Dakota brings you on, if you could turn on your video, we'd love to see your face. And Mark does have a video. Hi, Mark. Oh, look at that beautiful smile. Oh, you're muted. I do this all the time. There you go.
Okay. Sorry for having to hold this up, but I just swung around from how I positioned my desk. So if it's wobbly, I apologize for that.
You look great. You also have some great foliage behind you. It's a very nice background.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So my question is, obviously the market is pretty hot right now. I don't know when they anticipate it, dropping some or cooling off, but how has that affected your ability to find properties to wholesale or to buy and hold at decent prices still? Because I've noticed that a few people are thinking that for their nearly burned down house, that they should be getting retail prices because that's what Zillow said.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, we have noticed, a shift in the market, and we've actually lost a couple of deals already, to some of the competitors that are offering close to retail pricing. And just I just have this mentality. It's like I'm just gonna keep grinding until I can't no more. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna keep pushing until they push me out or shove me out. But yeah, we haven't focused on that, and we just keep doing what we're good at. And one of the things that we're really good at, me and my team, is just having realistic conversations with sellers. You know what I mean? Just letting them know that though they may get a higher offer, before you're closing on the house, they're going to come back and they're going to say, you know what, I need a $15,000 reduction. And that's happened to a lot of the people that have, turned away our offer to get a higher offer, to then find out that this hedge fund or this company, offered them more in the beginning, but then at the end came back and asked for repairs or asked for, X amount off, etc. And they come back to us and we end up getting the deal. But yeah, I try not to focus on the negative. I'm just try to just see through it, and basically just keep grinding it out. I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, we have seen a little bit of people saying, well, I need more, but to be honest, we haven't seen it a lot. I don't know if other markets are different, but at least here in Atlanta, we haven't noticed a huge change, if that answers your question.
Okay.
Mark,
Yes,
where
it
are you
does.
located?
I'm in Vegas.
Vegas, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
we have quite a few in Vegas.
yeah. Yeah, Ryan Pineda is actually out in Vegas, home run offer, and he says the same thing. Like, some of these guys are, offering, retail pricing, but when they come and they had all their fees and everything else, it doesn't make sense for them to go. So I just try to be real and honest and as transparent as I can with the client, and usually that wins them over. To be honest with you, just being honest and transparent, like. So sometimes I just have grace with the people that I'm talking to, and they just decide to go with us versus a big company that's not personable and it's not going to give them that experience that I am. Like, I'll even if I need to help you move your stuff, like, my team's willing to do that. This hedge fund may not, and I'll tell them that, if you need a dumpster, I'll pay for the dumpster so that you can put all your stuff in a dumpster, and we'll hire a moving company. So just, little things like that, I think, win over somebody maybe giving just a little bit more money.
Well, that does matter, Hector, those things that you just mentioned. So,
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for answering my question. I really appreciate
Sure.
it. And good luck to you, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, it looks like we have David. Hi, David.
What's going on? I don't have camera, so sorry about that. But two questions for you, Hector. One, what are your checklist indicators for what you look at as a good deal or something that you're going after? And then two, what's a typical turnaround time on your deals right now, or what's your goal to to flip?
Yeah, good question. So, the deal that I look for is the deal that makes me money. I don't necessarily get, gung ho about having the perfect deal in next to my house or somewhere I can drive through. Luckily, I've been able to build a pretty nice team that is able to drive, an hour away per se if we need to get a deal. But I'm looking for sure at least making 20%. Or $20,000. So if I can't make that on a deal, whether it's a wholesale or a flip, then I probably won't entertain it just because of my overhead and what I want to make on the deal. So, but as far as limitations, yeah, I'll go. In Georgia, we just locked up a property today. Actually, we sent a contract over that got signed. It's a quadplex, and it's in Norcross, which is 45 minutes from me, but luckily the numbers made sense and it'll be a great buy and hold. So I look for everything. If it's a wholesale, I try to make you know close to that 10K mark or more. If I'm gonna flip, I my formula is like I have to make double the amount in the flip than the wholesale. So if I wholesale a property and I can make $20,000 now, and or I'm gonna make $30,000 in a flip, I'll just wholesale it because I want $20,000 now instead
Right.
of $30,000, 3 months from now. The other question is, as far as turnaround time, like I said, I have three contractors that work pretty much exclusively for me. And so right now my turnaround time is just crazy fast. Like, we got in a house it had blood in the walls. I kid you not, it was like a haunted house. And it was like the floors were ripped up. I mean, like literally my guys had to pray in the house because it was like intense, like blood in the walls. And we thought we were gonna take 6 weeks. My guys could, knocked it out in 4 weeks. And so, we're doing really fast flips right now. And I have a standard guide for my flips. I try to be as cookie cutter as possible because I can control my cost. Except if I'm doing a luxury flip, then I spend a little more time on the decorations and the color schemes. But my guys know at this point now, it's like go in, put the same floor in, put the same tile, put the same granite, put the same hardware, blah 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 blah. Same. We keep
Right.
it by the same. And so it's pretty standard because we're not going to live there. And we do enough of a renovation for Mac market standards, but we do it right. That's like one thing that I'm really big on. It's like we don't cut corners on electric, plumbing, or HVAC or roofing. Like those are the things that are the big ticket items that if we need to replace, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do it, the right way because we don't want to have a problem during inspection time anyway. So might as well just knock them out right the first time.
Right on. So you said 4 weeks, and that's 4 weeks done and sold.
No, so 4 weeks to flip, and then depending on what the market is doing, we could be 2 months in and out. That's usually our average right now. So it's about 3 to 4 weeks to flip, and then about a month or so to list and sell because you got to wait for the appraiser to come in, you got to wait for the inspection. All that takes a little bit of time. So 2 months, and it's pretty fast, at least in my market.
Yeah, it's not bad. And if you were to look at your, I guess, portfolio of deals now, would you say one type of deal sticks out more than the other? Are you doing more wholesale, more flips, or do you have more buy and holds? What kind of takes over or
Right
takes
now,
more of your time, I guess?
well, right now I'm doing more flips than ever, just because wholesale right now, what we've seen are a little tight because of what the previous gentleman asked. They want more money for their house, so it's a tighter deal. So we end up just flipping them ourselves. We had two deals in Carlton, Georgia, and I blasted it out, and people came back at what I had it under contract for. So I knew that I had a good house and at a good price, but nobody wanted to pay, that extra 10, 15,000 that I was looking for. So I just decided to keep it. So a good rule of thumb is just send your deals out and see what people are willing to pay. And if they're right at where you have it, you need to renegotiate, or you need to keep it and rent it, or keep it and flip it. So my bread and butter is the fix and flips. That's where we really shine, but we do a lot of wholesale deals that don't make sense for us to hold on to. And then if it's a really juicy deal, then I'll keep it as a rental. Or if it's in a good location and it's going to cash flow properly, then I'll keep it. And I'm looking for the 1% rule, which is, what I have into it at 1%. If I'm going to make that back, then I'll keep it as a rental.
Right on. And then last question, and I'll get off the horn here. If you were to
You're good, David.
yourself, if you were to give yourself one piece of advice when you first started, now what would that be?
That's
I
a
would
really
say-
good question,
that's a tough
David, by the way.
Yeah, I would have started sooner. Like I would have just told myself start sooner. I think, I wish I would have been doing this when I was in my early 20s. I would have had a lot more real estate owned. I would have had a lot more money. Um, I would say, get into coaching as fast as you can, because the way I look at coaching is not necessarily what they're going to teach you. It's the network that you're going to create. So out of this panelists and the people in here, a lot of them may reach out or not, but I'm putting myself out there to network with you guys, and maybe you have a deal and maybe I can sell you a deal. You know what I mean? So I think when you're entering into a coaching program, see how big the network that person offering the coaching program has, and how exclusive they're going to be with their time, and how much time they're going to give to you individually. Because in my coaching program, there was a guy that sold us a deal where we profited $60,000, and I would have never had that opportunity if I wasn't in the coaching program. And he just knew that I was in Georgia, close to him. And then another girl from Utah sold us a deal that we're closing on Friday in Leesburg, Georgia, because she knew that I was part of the coaching program and knew that I flip here in Georgia, came across this deal from one of her properties in Utah. The owner lived in Utah, but also had a property in Georgia that she wanted to get rid of. So she just linked the two together and reached out to me, and I got the deal for $5,000 wholesale fee, and I'll make probably 25,000 just for being in the right place at the right time. So, yeah.
Right on. What coaching program is that?
That's with Ryan Pineda.
Ryan Pineda. Very cool, man. Well, appreciate it.
Sure.
Having a killer year.
Thanks
Awesome.
so much,
Thanks.
David.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay. Lasagna, are you there?
I am here.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. So my first question was about getting the deals or securing the deals. So what I have found is that I have a lot of excellent leads, motivated sellers. I talk to them, I go see the property, come back with a quote based on comps. And then it's like I get the horse to the water, but I never get anyone to drink. So I'm not sure if I'm missing something with how I'm coming up with how much I'm offering for the deals. I'm not sure where I'm missing the boat, but clearly I know that some of my properties have been picked up by other investors because I sometimes follow up. I've gained a rapport with the seller. So I call them back, hey, what happened? How did things go? And I find out that someone else has basically taken the property. So I think I'm missing a key component in how I'm actually deciding how much to offer for properties. And someone mentioned earlier that even with this market, like people are looking for $500,000 for a home that's gutted out. So I don't know what I'm missing as that goes. And my second question was about mentorship. I heard you mention earlier that you do have a mentor, and then I just heard you mention the coaching program that you participated in. And so I wanted to kind of know how to secure a mentor. And thanks to DealMachine, the Van Harrises are very helpful outside of the webinar that they provided. They're willing to answer questions. They've actually gone to a property with me to see a deal. So they're not mentoring me, if you will, but because of that affiliation, they've been very helpful. But I need a mentor. I need a coach.
Are you in Atlanta then?
I am. I'm in Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is a suburb outside of the metropolitan Atlanta area. So yes, I am.
Well, now you have Hector in Atlanta too,
Yes,
along with the Van
yes.
Harris group.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
and Hector,
connect
your
with
story
me.
is wonderful. Just to hear that, wow.
Yeah, Lasagna, I would just say, definitely connect with me. Love to help any way I can. I want to ask you a question. What are they constantly telling you when they're declining your offer or they're going with somebody else? What is what are they saying to you?
So sometimes the most recent situation was I try to stick with the pain points. Once I've talked to them and I find out why they really want to get rid of the property, I stick with the pain points. Well, remember, I'll be able to, this deal will help you do X, Y, Z, and you'll be able to have some money to do those things that you were expecting to do. But with the last property, he really wanted, this is a property literally with a hole in the roof because a tree had fallen in. His son had been living in the home, and just it was deplorable, really. But he wanted 200,000 for the house. That was when we were negotiating back and forth after I'd given the initial offer based on what was going on in the area. He really wanted to stick firm with 200,000. He did not get 200,000 when I followed up with him. He received like 180, but yeah, it's usually they want more money. So I don't know if I'm just not offering enough. If I'm trying to play it safe. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing.
So a couple of things come to mind. Number one, if it's a price issue, you can always right now. What I would tell people is like just lock up the deal. You know what I mean? Just lock it up. Obviously it can't be ridiculous. It can't be too far off of the map. And as far as asking price, if the property's not worth that much, but I would lock up the deal and then I would try to renegotiate at a later time. You know what I mean? If the hedge fund guys are doing it, why can't we do it? You know what I mean? Type of situation. But I don't say that like, in a negative light, but it's true. Like sometimes they need to understand that the reality is that there's a tree, growing inside of the house. So there's a reason why. And, a couple of ways of doing that is bringing a contractor with you that can point out things to the client and say, look, this is going to cost X amount for me to fix it once I buy the property, or any other investors. So sometimes bringing them to reality. Number one. The second thing is like just looking at yourself and realizing that, am I a salesperson? Am I my personality type? Is it a sales personality type where I'm actually, closing these deals? I'll be honest, I have another guy that if you think I'm excited and enthusiastic and charismatic, like this guy Hector, who at least knows, like you should see him right here, and he'll blow up the room. He will light it up. He's just an incredible sales guy, and so he does most of the appointments, even though I can close, but he's just a better salesperson. So sometimes it's just understanding where your strengths lie, and if you're not a good salesperson, maybe you're losing out of these deals just simply because your strength lays somewhere else. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not saying that I don't know you, but
No,
maybe.
you're correct. I'm
Yeah,
listening to you as you're speaking.
yeah,
I am an educator by profession, and I teach special education. So I'm really I really try to. Oh, I don't want to bamboozle somebody, if you
right,
will. So
yeah,
I definitely build rapport.
right.
But you're absolutely correct. I agree with you. I do need to think of someone who is better at selling and someone who's not going to be pulled at the heartstrings, because
Right.
I think that is an
Yeah.
issue for me.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like it's just business, you know what I mean? So sometimes you have to just take that out of the equation and say, look, this is business. This is what's going to help feed my family. So it is what it is. And so, I would say, get to know your personality type. There's a really good software called the Predictive Index test that you can take, that tells you what your personality type is. And we quickly realized, my partner and I, that I was a maverick, he was an integrator, and he was trying to close deals. And then we switched that up, and then I started closing more deals because my personality type is more lean. It leans more towards a sales position. And so then he started implementing marketing and strategies, and we just scaled really fast because we understood our personality types and our strengths. Then we hired somebody else on board that is strictly on commission. They basically, he eats what he kills type of situation. And so maybe you need to just JV with somebody on your first few deals, see how they operate, see how they sell, and maybe learn a couple of things and do it yourself, or just have somebody, maybe you won't get the whole 10,000, maybe you'll get 5,000, but it's better than getting zero. You know what I mean? So I would say that. And the last thing, to kind of wrap up your question, is just building rapport, is good. And I'm really, really believe in building rapport, but it's really, you have to be really intentional with building rapport, and it's going above and beyond, type of building rapport. So if you think you're building rapport, you need to increase that by 10. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is, I'll give you a quick story. Just yesterday, or when was this, Tuesday, we went out to move a fridge, myself and Hector, the other guy, his name is Hector too. We went to move a fridge from a house that we had just bought from a gentleman that owns 32 acres. He owns a stable with a couple of horses in it. I think that's how you say it, stable. Anyway, he owns horses. He owns a couple other properties, and he wanted his fridge from that house that we had just bought. And I said, you know what, Mr. Bill, I'm gonna go and deliver the fridge for you today. And we went, picked it up. It was just me and Hector. It was kind of crazy, but we took the fridge, we set it in his garage, and then he gave us a whole tour of his acres and the horses, and we just built rapport. Did I have to move the fridge? No. Could I have paid $50 to a worker to go and move the fridge? Yes. But I wanted to show him that I cared, and I wanted to show him that I was invested in the relationship. So building rapport times 10 is what I tell everybody. If you think you're building good rapport, you need to increase your building rapport strategy. That's it.
Yeah, okay. I get that, but I also have one more question. You've covered the mentor question. So in regards to building rapport, I ran across this guy who is selling land. I was driving for dollars, took a picture of his house. I didn't even think about how much land was on the house. I've been dealing with him since like December, and he has decided that he's only going to sell with me. He has already signed the contract. I don't have access to someone. It's buildable land. So it's enough acreage to actually build properties. And so I talk to Mr. Bennett every single day because he's giving me time to find someone who wants to build land. Do you know anyone?
You do. Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm being serious. It really has been since December. He got my first postcard in December, called the same day. And after talking to him, we've met a couple of times, and he has signed the contract and is allowing me to find someone who wants to build the land. The house is a wrap. If somebody just wanted to do the house, that's fine, but it's really the land. It's in a prime area, and I'm struggling to find someone who wants to build on land.
Yeah, connect with me after the call, but through this business, I've been able to network with a lot of people that build. Working for the construction company, I've met a lot of people that build. And somebody's posting here about the geology report, and you got to do a foundation testing, and you got to test the dirt and like all this stuff. So yeah, they're very correct. So you have to get with someone that knows what they're doing to be able to check that. And there's people that invest solely in land. And I have contacts. I don't know them very, very well, but I can connect you with them. You can have a conversation with them. And, land is sellable. You can wholesale land, and you can invest in land and resell land and put it on the market. So there's good opportunity with land. You just have to connect with the right people. And I'd love to introduce you to some people.
Fortunately for me, in addition to being an educator, I'm a planning commissioner for my district here in the county that I live in. So I've already done that legwork. I found out what the zoning codes are, and if it's in a floodplain, that part I've already taken care of. And it just happens to be that for 13 years I've served as a planning commissioner, so I know those ins and outs. I just need, but I will get with you
Yeah.
and see what we can do.
Yeah. And
As
if
far
you
as
have it
getting,
on their contract, honestly, just go to Facebook and get on some of those groups that, you know, you can wholesale. I think there's like Atlanta Real Estate Investors or something club on Facebook that has, you know, thousands of people on the group, and you just post it. If you have it on their contract, you know, who's interested, get all their emails and blast it out and see what comes out of it. You know what I mean?
thank you. Facebook has not been, I just
No.
joined the Deal Machine Facebook page. So you're helping me right now because I just was staying away from social media, but I've realized it's good for marketing. It's good for so many things.
Yeah,
So thank you for that tip. I appreciate the
for
information.
sure.
And I
Yeah,
really look forward to talking to you very
absolutely.
soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lasagna, I want to say two things. One, Hector, I love that you said that about knowing your strengths, because I am also not a salesperson, and I had to find that out after working in sales for a year and a half. So I totally get you. I totally feel your girlfriend. But also when you do get this deal closed, we need to have a success call and talk about how you had it under contract since December and how you hooked up and all that good stuff.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
awesome.
And Miss Knack, I want to say that I know you're definitely a rapport builder because I feel like I know you.
I do. And that's my soft spot. I am the achy heartbreak. Like, oh my gosh, please. Okay, fine. I'll do whatever you need. And you know what? You don't want to sell it to me. Fine. That's fine. I don't want to. And I'm horrible. I talk myself out of the deal.
Yeah.
So I have our head of sales who has gone with me to some things. And also David, our CEO, has gone with me into an appointment because I just end up giving all the feels, but nothing that is actually intentional. Like Hector said, it's not intentional, and it just does not benefit me or the seller. So, but definitely reach out to through the Instagram on Deal Machine if you have an Instagram yet. But reach out on the community group. I'm happy to connect too, so we can talk.
Okay, I'm getting there.
You know what? Takes the first step. You already got there, one step at a time. Thank you so much, Lasagna.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much.
Hi, David. David, you've been here before.
Hi, guys. I have been. Yeah. Thanks for having me back. Guys, thanks for coming on to do the call. I'll try to make it quick. Hector, you mentioned one of the coaching groups you're involved with, but I didn't quite catch it.
Yeah, so it's okay to share, at least, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's Ryan Pineda, and he has two programs. It's the All-Star program and the Rookie program. And if you tell him I send you, you will get a deal. And
Okay.
so just
It's
tell him
Ryan
Hector told
Pineda,
me.
like Ryan spelled normal, and Pieta.
Pineda. Pineda. He's really big on social media, on YouTube. His book, Flip Your Future, is one of the best books out there right now for practical steps in getting into real estate investing. Flip Your Future. So yeah,
Cool.
I should get a royalty for that. But
you
yeah,
should.
Ryan's an amazing guy. I've been to his house. I've been to his masterminds, and he's super down to earth and just an amazing dude. So
Cool. Thank you for that. And you touched on your partnership. Your partner was a wholesaler or is a wholesaler, and then you guys combined forces. What was your instinct in the beginning? Why not just continue to buy wholesale deals from him?
that's a great question. Honestly, I think my goal was to build a company and build a business, not just, make all these profitable deals. And, I know for some people that may be attractive. For me, I wanted to build a business that I could put on autopilot at some point. And he just brought a lot of knowledge and helped me to streamline the process where I no longer have to go out there and do the grunt work per se, because of the systems that we've implemented. So my goal in linking up with him and partnering with him was to lessen the load, because for me the priority was I want to spend time with my family, and I know I'm not going to be able to do that if I am working all the time. And so I kind of, I have made, a lot more money my first year, second year, sure. but I'd rather make less money and spend more time with my family, my wife, my kids. And so you kind of have to pick what you want your life to look like. You know what I mean? And for me, that was what I wanted it to look like. I wanted to be available, for my family. And it's a really great book I'd recommend. It's Your Next Five Moves. Your Next Five Moves. And it just talks about, about that specifically, like what you want your life to look like, and being willing to make $200,000 a year salary, but you get all the benefits of being around. You know what I mean? Or 300,000. For some people, it may look like $1 million, but that's what they want to create. They want to make $1 million a year. And so, everybody's different. And I'm going on a tangent like I always do, but my goal for linking up with Vince was to make it easier on me, have a partner that could lighten the load and scale faster.
Would you say then, I mean, it sounds like from one of your other answers that you got a lot of synergy out of that, rather than just, doubling your expense or splitting the profits and having the same size pie. You created some synergy and actually created a bigger pie than each of you would have had
Exactly.
individually. And you mentioned the predictive indicator. I haven't used that tool yet, but I'm a big believer in finding like two opposite brains. Can be a lot more effective, than being a lone wolf. Do you have any kind of quick sort of best secrets or little small hinges that have swung big doors for you in the area of either scaling or effectiveness?
Being transparent. Honestly, if you could be as transparent as you can with everybody that you meet, there's good energy that comes from that. And that's what has gotten me to where I am. I've just been transparent, and it's just been an open book, and people have just seen that and invested with me, partnered with me, etc. Number one. Number two, I would say, as far as the partnership is concerned, it's I forget what I was gonna say, but I mean, secret. I would say just being transparent. Just absorb and learn as much as you can, but don't be afraid to take action. I talk to people all the time that are in these webinars, and they taking this class, and they're in this coaching program, and they're reading these books, and they overanalyze. And there's a big term going around. It's like it's analysis paralysis. Stop analyzing and just take action and just go for it. Like, you're gonna make mistakes, you may fail, you may lose thousands of dollars, but you will be thankful later when you look back and say, I did it, I tried to go for it. And eventually you'll learn, and you'll get after it. So what I tell all my guys that work for me, and the people that ask me about investing advice, is like, you are your biggest critic and motivator at the same time. So you have to really just take the step of faith and go for it.
Cool. Thank you so much for taking the time. Very grateful. Appreciate it.
Thanks, David. Good to see you again.
You as well.
Hector, you about had Dakota out of his chair there when you were speaking. That he was like doing fist pumps and like nodding like crazy.
I love it. That's the one thing I tell so many people in the trainings is just like, it's getting over that initial hurdle of just getting started. Go drive that first route, drive your first neighborhood, your first street, just get started and go do it. That was a big holdup for me. So I love that. I love that you included that.
Yeah, for sure.
Taking me to church. All right, Eric, we have time for Eric. You may be our last one, but we'd love to hear from. Oh, look, and you have camera. Hello. I love your bucket hat.
Thank you. Hey, Hector, I got like 3 questions. I mean, basically my first one is, how do you feel about like out of state deals? I'm fairly new to the game. I've only been in it like a year, but my job on the weekend, I travel out of state, like to surrounding states all the time. And I always see like these distressed looking properties, like basically, I'm just going to another city, but like how, like, I don't know, like, would you recommend it? Or do you think like maybe trying to find people who work in those states, like cut a deal with them? I heard you talking about that earlier. Yeah, that's the first question.
So you're asking, how do I feel about investing out of state or wholesaling out of state, basically?
Yeah, wholesaling. Like I said, I just started, so all I do is I just get it under contract and then make a profit off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like would you recommend that, or do you think
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, definitely, it's about finding the right market, right? And if you have money to experiment with different lists that you could have your cold callers call on, why not? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Honestly, one thing that has helped me is just putting what I do on social media, and a lot of people that I've met through the years have linked up with me or asked me questions, and I just put them on DealMachine. I just, look, go drive for dollars, and then if you put 500 properties in there, then we'll talk. And they do it. And
Mhm.
the deal that I that has been advertised in Orlando, I'm in Atlanta, and that was just simply posting my journey, documenting what I'm doing. And Hector literally messaged me as somebody that I've known for 10 years, that just came out of the woodwork and said, "Hey, what are you doing? I known you from before, I want to do what you do." And I said, "Bro, I just honestly started investing. I started reading, learning, blah, blah, blah. And I got this app called the Deal Machine. I can add you on there to, just see what happens." He went on his first route, and he found that deal in Winter Haven, Orlando, and we locked it up. We flipped it, and it's amazing what will happen when you document your journey on social media. So to answer your question, like I've done that several times. I did it in Ohio, and I did it now in San Antonio. Another friend of mine that lives in San Antonio saw my journey, saw what I was doing, and hit me up. And we went through a couple hours of training, and I told him what to look for in properties, etc. And he found a deal right in downtown San Antonio that we're currently flipping. And so I think if you want to invest and be a virtual wholesaler, you can do well. I've actually bought deals from virtual wholesalers in California that are looking at markets in Georgia. So I bought 2 deals from a guy in Cali, and it's because it's for me, California is kind of saturated, and you can still get deals, don't get me wrong, but it's just a lot more competition. So if you go to smaller footprint markets that have a million plus in population, you can still find good deals. So cities like Gainesville, Florida, Orlando, Jacksonville, Florida, like, just pull a list and put some money on it and see what happens. If you have the money to do it, definitely do it. But yeah, for me, I like it. People stay away from it, but I try to find people that the market, or the industry calls them boots on the ground, that I either know, or I know a friend that knows them, and then I just pay them to go out and take pictures or meet with the seller. I did that in Ohio recently. We had a house for $25,000 over there that the market's really cheap, but it was in horrible condition. I wanted to see the status. I went to Zillow, found a realtor, and I said, "Hey, would you mind going to take a picture for me, and I'll pay you $50?" And she was like, "Sure." She went, paid her $50. We didn't buy the deal, but yeah, Zillow is powerful, man. You can go on Zillow and find an agent that is in the market, and just cold call them and build
Mhm.
relationships with them. You know what I mean?
And then like, is there any other than Deal Machine? Like, when you see a property, like what else? Like, what other tools do you use that basically just like get more information on it? Like, what do you look for that way when it's time to come to the table, or you have a buyer who's interested? Like, basically get all those beginner questions out the way and just make the process easier for them.
Deal Machine, baby. Deal
Just
Machine.
Deal Machine.
It's a one-stop shop. No, seriously. You can skip trace. You can send a postcard, and door knock. You can also door knock. It's people are afraid of that, but Brent Daniels, multi-million-dollar producer, talks about it all the time. Go door knock, and if you know what you're doing, you can build a good report. But there's obviously PropStream and all those other softwares. But if you have Deal Machine, really you can maximize what you're doing on there.
All right. And then one last thing, I actually did recently sell or flip my first house or wholesale it. So the
Congrats.
lady,
Hold on, wait.
Thank you. But I built good rapport with the lady. She was happy, so she actually gave me access to her whole portfolio. I'm
Nice.
actually it's actually up in I'm in Ohio, Northeast Ohio. So if anyone in here in this group, or if anyone is interested, I'll drop my email. I have some properties for some investors.
Where at?
Where?
I'm Northeast Ohio, so I'm in Akron, Ohio. So
Okay.
it's all yeah.
I'm a Kent State grad, so I'm like all about Northeast Ohio.
I have a serious
And
buyer in Ohio. If you want to link up with me later and send me the details, he buys a bunch of deals a month. So that's why we started
Hey.
looking in Ohio, because I wanted to sell him those properties.
Mhm.
So that property I'm talking about is Dayton, Ohio, and Cleveland.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll drop my information in the chat.
Sure.
Oh, ho, ho, I love it. Our sister to the east, Ohio. Eric, thanks so much. And thank you just for your questions. And unfortunately, I want to be very conscious of Hector's time. But this is where you can link up with him on Instagram. And do you want them to just kind of DM you?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, whatever.
I cannot thank you enough. You've dropped so many nuggets. I've been like, I had to try to find a piece of paper to write down things as we were going. But I wrote down everything that Hector talked about. Books and everything will be linked in the description. Please do reach out to him and connect with each other. Hector, what are some last words for the good people?
Last words. If you're on this webinar, it's because you have a desire to build a life that you can look back on and say, I did something with it. If you're in these webinars, because you have a desire to grow as a person and do something with your life other than what the world tells you to do. So I would just encourage you to um, bet on yourself and go for it. You know, believe in yourself, make that call, make that connection, work on yourself, believe in yourself, and just know that you're the only one stopping you. And, you know, it doesn't matter what people have said about you, what your past may look like, what your circumstances have been. Things can change, and you have the power to change it yourself. You know, and I would just say, you know, you have the steering wheel in your hands, you know. So, you know, COVID's been hard for everybody. Life's going to continue. Things are going to happen. Storms are going to come. But if you believe in yourself, I know it sounds like a cliche, but wake up every morning, you know, do your affirmations, speak yourself in the mirror and say, I got this. I can do it. I'm going to lock up my first deal the next 30 days. And one more piece of advice, if I can, I would just say, write in a journal what you want your life to look like in the next 5 years. Very detailed out. And believe me, when you look back, you're going to see, wow, you know, I've done a lot. And break out your goals per quarter. You know, set realistic goals per quarter and go after it and get hungry and you know, do what you want to do. You're in control.
I love that. David actually got us, and I have it on my desk, the 5-minute journal. And
Yeah.
I write in it every single day. Oh, are we twinsies? Oh my gosh, we are.
Yeah.
I love it. And I will say it's literally a minute maybe to write down everything, but you do see I've now changed my goals because I've already hit them. And so I'm keeping making more so that way, and it does, you're right. You look back and you're like, well, crap, I didn't even think it was going to happen this fast, but all right, I'll shoot for the next one. So, thank you so much again, Hector. You're more than welcome to stage, just so everyone knows. We do have a demo right after this, but Hector, again, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure being here. Really enjoyed it. I'd love to do it again. You guys take care and keep it up. Keep driving. See you
Keep
guys, bro.
driving. Also, want to let everyone know this is how you can connect with us on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I know AJ was putting a lot in the chat about how you guys can connect with us on YouTube. We have a lot of tutorials, and also please check out those training links. I'm actually going to hand this over to Dakota now, and I just realized my name's been DealMachine Trainer the whole time. But Dakota, will you
Yes.
please show us? We're doing a very high level of DealMachine. I know we saw that some people don't have us just quite yet. And also, I wanted people to know we did just release our custom mailers this last week. It's been a 7-day rollout. So we do have a training on that. AJ will be putting that in the chat. But do you want me to share my screen?
No, I got it. I got it.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. There we go. What?
I need to know.
Oh, Hector, you know that I just wrote down send Hector swag. Like I literally wrote it down because I was like, he needs more. Well, now I need to replace a hat.
I lost it. Yeah. So
Was that when you were seeing Ryan?
Yeah. Yeah, it flew out of the car. So anyway.
Well, someone else.
Thanks, guys. Y'all take care.
Thank you so,
Thank you so much,
so
Hector.
much, Hector.
Dakota, take care. AJ, see you
You
later.
too, man.
Bye, guys.
All right, so Dakota, what are we looking at right now?
Right now, we are looking at. Oh,
so sorry. As we go through this, please again feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We will go over things, but again, this is very high level because as you can tell, we've added a lot, and we know you all have a lot of time. And I don't know about you, but I get really antsy after about an hour. But we want to make sure that we go through things and we answer questions. But there are trainings. Go sign up for them. They go in deeper. AJ's gonna drop them. Okay, now Dakota,
Yes.
go drop some bomb.
yes. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. And it is going to be difficult to follow Hector's words there. That was incredible. What an awesome guy.
Yeah.
But we'll make this exciting. We'll make it quick. This is going to be a high level overview of DealMachine as a whole, right? So we're going to be covering all of our tabs here on the left side. And of course, like Elise said, dealmachine.com/training. If you would like to join some more of the webinars and join myself, they're fun. They're exciting. We interact, we ask questions. We have a lot of fun. So, but let's run through DealMachine here, right? So starting off on our dashboard, right? So when you log in, this is the page you will be taken to. You'll have your sliders here you can set your goals for. So what are you looking to generate from your practice, right? What should you expect annual profit wise, right? What are you looking to do in terms of adding deals per month? You can adjust all these and set these up for what your goals are, right? So you can keep it personal. You can keep it in front of you whenever you log in. You'll be able to track these. Now on the right side, we've got videos that you can watch. A lot of these, right? This one is with the Polites. They're a phenomenal couple that does a lot with us here at DealMachine. We love them, and we'll rotate through these videos. Always check that out because there could be something new there that you can learn from. Moving down the dashboard, right? Oh, another thing to point out is you can sign up for our upcoming webinars. So, we had the one tonight with Hector, the ones that we'll have in the future on Thursdays, you can register for here just below your goal right there on your dashboard. And then scrolling down, you've got some of your analytics, right? So how many leads have you added? How many active mailers do you have? Things like this that you can track just to keep, see if you're on track for what you're setting for yourself and where you might need to adjust in terms of reaching those goals and hitting those marks that you've set. So that's your dashboard, right? We've got that all on our front screen. Elise, I will defer to you at the end of every tab here. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yes. Wait, did you
Yes.
point out the activity bell?
I did not.
There's nothing to display, but usually everything. Dakota has a demo account, so I can always go over to mine too. But the activity, if you ever want to know what your team has done, what you've done, what things have been just happening in your account, that's where you go to find it.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, good catch there. There's your dashboard, right? The next tab we have is our tasks tab. Tasks we have launched in the past couple months. This is where you can set up tasks for yourself, right? You can assign tasks to your teammates, whether this be a follow-up call, a follow-up mailer, an appointment, a closing, whatever you need to keep track of, you can keep track of directly within DealMachine. You can tie it directly to your leads if you would like to do that, but it really does help you keep track of everything that you have going on. It's really difficult when you do start to, connect with a lot of people. You start to talk with people. You've got properties that you have to go see. You want to be able to keep track of them. You don't want to miss out on anything. Or you could set a task for attending webinars and trainings in the future with DealMachine. So utilize this to help keep yourself on task and keep your most important tasks in front of you, but also be able to delegate those tasks to your team as well for anything that they might need to take care of on their end, right? So you've got your tasks here. Obviously, you can add new tasks, assign them to specific people. You can set due dates as well, and then you can filter them all here too. Elise, tasks, good. We got the thumbs up. Moving on to our map tab, right? So if you have one of our Driving for Dollar subscriptions, right, whether that be starter, professional, or elite, you'll have access to the maps tab here. This is where you can zoom in. If you're on your phone, obviously you can start driving from this tab. You'll be able to keep track of your drives, everything like that. If you're on your desktop, you can't. Elise? Oh, I saw you move your mic closer. But if you're on your desktop, right, you can zoom in, you can see these properties. When you click on them, you can pull up property information. So if you want to go through this way or look at leads that you've added, whatever the case might be, you can access that here from the map tab. Moving on, right, just to point out some things, we've got the search bar up here. So if you want to manually add a lead or search for a house or a property in particular, you can do that. We've got our pin mode here. So these are different map modes that you have available to you. Pin mode, I'm typically on when I'm on my desktop, but if I'm driving, I'm actually out there driving, I will utilize tap to add mode. It helps me keep my eyes on the road. The difference, right, is if we zoom in here, we click on this property, pin mode will just pull up the property information here and we'll have to manually click add lead. Whereas if we switch it to tap to add mode, once we click on that, it will automatically get added into our leads list. So from there, we can go through skip tracing, we can go through mailers, everything like that. So again, when you're driving, it helps keep your eyes on the road so that you can keep track of what's in front of you. And then later on, you can go back through once you're finished driving, skip trace, send mailers, things like that. So there are your different map modes there. You've got highlights up in the top right as well. This is if you want to see specific properties. Again, either if you're on your desktop or you're out driving, maybe you want to see something from a quick list. If that's, vacant properties, absentee owners, foreclosures, things like that. Also, you have all these custom filters down here that you can look at. So let's just say we want to look for properties sold over 5 years ago. We click on apply highlights. And then we can see, you'll see all these highlighted properties. So as you're driving, those may be properties that you want to spend more time looking at, right? Because they may line up with specific filters or things that you are looking for in a property in particular. So you have your highlights there. Moving on, you have your different map views. So if you'd like to see your driving routes, route tracker, I should say, is included with our professional plans and above. But that's these green lines that you see here. These are all routes that someone on a driving team has driven. If they are green, they've been driven in the last 6 months. If they are yellow, in the last 6 to 12 months. And if they are red, we don't have any in this area, but there are some I know on the map, that would have been 12 plus months since you last drove that area. So it helps you keep track of when you might want to recanvas that spot, depending on that time frame, right, and what you might set up for yourself. Other map options, right, show your labels and what type of label you want to appear. Again, for me, I'll typically stick with property address, but you could show other information if you'd like. And then as well as a satellite view, you could select that too. We've got our 3 lines here, which just pulls up the properties just in a list view on the right side of the screen. Of course, our zoom in, zoom out, and then we can set up our default location, things like that with those 3 dots in the top right. That was a very quick overview, I know, but again, we have a ton of phenomenal videos with the ever so wonderful Elise on our YouTube. If you'd like to learn more about some of those. Elise, anything else you'd like to add about the map tab?
No, I think that was perfect. Just so you guys are aware, going into the leads tab, all the filters for highlights are there for the leads as well. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yep, exactly. So this will be where you see all of the leads that you've added while driving for dollars, while pulling lists, everything like that, right? So we can search our leads. Again, if we're looking for a property in particular, you can import a list. If you have lists in a CSV file or leads from a different source, right? You can import them directly into DealMachine, manually add things, leads, things like that. we can filter our leads. So like Elise said, a lot of those filters you just saw, you can filter for here in your leads list. Or if you want to search for a list that you may have pulled in the past or a custom list that you've created, you can also filter for those here as well. Edit our columns, right? We can decide what type of information we want to see here. We can also change the size of the photos. So if we want to see a larger photo of the property that is in our leads tab, we can just switch this view here to the larger portrait photo to see that, which can make it easier as you're starting to filter through them. We can bulk select. And when we do that, we can start campaigns on bulk selected leads. We can do bulk skip tracing, change bulk statuses, add to lists, pause campaigns, export leads. There's tons of options within this. And so, let's say you filter by a specific set of filters you're looking for, and you want to select all of them. Make sure when you check this box here, you also click or select all X number of leads. So then you've selected everyone, because depending on how you have this set up right now, we're only looking at 25 leads per page. You may have 100 plus or 25 plus that you want to select all of them for. So just make sure you are aware of that. Now within individual leads, obviously that's where we'll have all our information. That's where we can do our skip tracing, so we can identify our phone numbers. Our skip tracing, we do provide phone number. We provide caller ID information if it's available. We provide if it's connected or disconnected, landline versus mobile. We give you carrier information. There's tons of information that you have available with our skip tracing. So definitely take advantage of that for your cold calling. It makes it a lot easier if you have that information in front of you. We also give you other mailing addresses, email addresses, things like that too. And then, of course, the rest of your property information. Now, down at the bottom, well, I guess we'll start at the top, actually. So we have our photo. If we want to upload a photo to this property, we can do it from here. Again, you can do this while driving. You can take photos of properties, and then we can edit any information displayed or delete that property if we need to. We've got our lead statuses here, which are very good. You want to start utilizing those to give yourself more information on where your leads are at in the acquisitions process. And especially there are some features we have available like property marketing pages. If you have something under contract, when you update that lead status, that's where you'll get access to that feature and be able to set that up, which gives you a link that you can send out on social media or to other investors so that they can start sending you offers. And then at the bottom right, we've got our activity tab. So if we want to keep track of what's happened in the lead since we've added it, we have all that information. We can add notes here, which allows you to tag other team members. We also have comps, right? So if you want to look for, back up here. There we go. That was probably on my end here. So we've got comps, right? We can look for comps. So comps is an add-on we have directly within DealMachine. Again, allows you to find those the ARV for those comps based off of a property that you've selected. You can set up the radius that you're looking within for other properties. You can also filter by beds and baths, square footage, and sale date as well. So it lets you get very defined for what you're looking for in that comp that you are trying to pull for the property you may have under contract. And then right from here, we can also start campaigns. So this goes along with our new mailer system. But when you click that, you would be able to select a campaign that you'd set up in our mailers tab, or you can set one up here, and then you would start that mailing process through that tab. Again, if you're curious about setting up that process, we will have YouTube videos on that that go along with our new system that we've developed. Elise, what do you think? Anything else you'd like to add for that section?
Yeah, no, this is good. Again, okay. If you want a deeper dive, we have more. I just don't want to overwhelm you guys.
Yeah, this is very, very high level, and I know I am going very quick. I haven't had a chance to check. Chat, are there any specific questions you've seen that I should touch on there?
No, I did see that David had a question about virtual driving for dollars, and I know AJ was messaging filter then display on the so driver can set her up to go on them actually. So David, actually one of the ways that I Paula wants to know how to tag a lead as a deal, but I really quick, David, for virtual driving for dollars, the main thing I do just because it just makes me really look at the properties, and you can have so I'd have DealMachine up on one, my DealMachine account in one window and then maybe the Google Maps on the other. And then I could highlight. What I typically do though is I pick an area or a zip code, and then the geofence around it on Google Maps, I'll just start in the top left and make my way through and just kind of keep a screenshot of like what I've actually hit, and then I know where to go to next for where I want to be. But you can go ahead and filter on DealMachine that same area and then see like where maybe it's a little bit hotter with like the criteria you're wanting to match, and then you can see that on Google Maps. But because we're a Chrome extension, we're not actually like Google Maps. We can't put our filters on it. But yes, show Paula how to tag a lead as a deal. Do you mean as dead? Sorry.
Yeah. So if you do have a lead that you've communicated with that's giving you some indication that they're not interested, or it could just be a dead lead, right? When we go into our lead statuses here and we click here and we scroll down, we've got lost deal, right? So that could be one of those scenarios. Not interested, unqualified, unresponsive are all ones as well. And in trash, you can also utilize. Now, you can permanently delete leads. We don't recommend doing that, because if you have people driving for you, or if you are driving yourself, when you permanently delete a lead, you can re-add that lead at some point. So if you do have one that's dead, or that falls within any one of these lead statuses, make sure you put it in one of these instead of deleting it. That way we're not going back and re-adding properties that we've already communicated with, because that way we're maximizing our time and effort. So that is how we would do that there.
Actually, I have one correction on that. I do believe that unless you permanently delete it, even if it's in the trash, you cannot add it again.
Yeah. So that's what I meant. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to clarify that.
No, you're totally right. Yeah. Use one of these in the lead statuses. Don't permanently delete.
Yeah. And then I saw another virtual driving for dollars question. Peter. So I will tell you, Google has been better, at least in our area. So we're in Indianapolis. I think they probably hit metropolitan areas probably more frequently if you're in a rural area, but ours are updated even through 2020. So the farthest back I do see some that are like 2011, but I'm seeing more and more that are at least like 2019 and above. It honestly is just street by street at this point. I'll go down one and it'll be 2011. The next street I go down, it'll be 2020. I don't know the rhyme or reason, but they do have a website. And I think, AJ, I don't know if you have it, but they have a website where you can check to see where they're driving next, because AJ shared it with me a long time ago and I don't remember it off the top of my head. Awesome. So you can go ahead down to driving or wherever you're going.
Yes, driving is our next stop, right? So that's our leads tab. Again, if you're curious about learning more about each individual aspect, we have plenty of YouTube videos as well. And there are live trainings. You can always come and ask me more questions too. Now, our driving tab, again, with our Driving for Dollars subscription, would give you access to this. This is where you can see all the people that have been driving under your account. If they're deal finders, if they've recently driven a route, you'll be able to track that here, see how many leads they added, how long they were driving, and how far they were driving as well. So when you click into that, you'll be able to see that route exactly on the map, right? So we can see exactly where they drove and what properties they have added. We can filter all this up here just depending on how you'd like to see that information, or of course you can use a custom filter as well. In the same way, right, we can make these a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller if we want to see the actual route there below the information. We can do that too. And then, of course, we can keep track of all of our drivers, all the people that are part of the account, and what their roles are. We can see that as well within this view. So that would be the driving tab. That's just a good place to keep track of who's adding what they're adding, where they're driving, or where you're driving, and to be able to keep track of all that. Elise, anything else you'd like to add?
One last thing, and it's only because it's not on your account, but
yes.
If you are on Elite, you have your own recruiting page, which that is something where you get your own landing page to send out in a link to drivers, to whoever, and you actually get to have a training portal for them. So it saves you time if you're looking to scale your business and add more drivers to your team. So that's the only other thing with that. And Peter, yes, AJ is here today. He's just looking for the link right now. He's this wonderful guy right here.
Give us a wave, AJ. There we are. All right. So there's our driving tab. Yeah, and that's a great point. Elite members will have access to that portal, which makes that recruitment process very streamlined. Now, I'm really excited for this one. So this is our new mailers tab, right? If you've been, if you've logged in the past week, we had this update went live on Tuesday. Before that, we had a drop-down menu that all of this was separated out in different areas, but now it's all in one spot, right? We've collected everything and put it in one spot. So when we click into this, we'll first be on our campaigns tab. So this is where we'll set up our mail marketing system, right? So if you're sending repeat mail, you can set that up within here. You can click on a new campaign in the top right. You'd be able to choose which mailer you would like to send. This is one me and my lovely trainees made this afternoon. But you can select any of the other ones you have in your account. You'd be able to select that. Choose if you want to repeat it and how many total mailers, or when you would like to repeat it and how many total mailers you are going to send with this campaign, right? So this would be what we call a simple campaign if you're sending one mailer multiple times, right? Now, we do also have an add-on called advanced campaigns, which is where you'd be able to set up a multi-step marketing process. This would be if you want to select different mailers. So let's say we do want to use this beautiful mailer that we created today. We could select that as the next mailer to be sent out after this current or the step above that completes. So when we go through that process, then it will send out this next one. And again, you can add as many steps as you would like. You can choose between all of the mailer designs that we have available or all the mailer types we have available. And obviously you can name these as well. So if you have specific ones for sagging gutters and poor landscaping, you create a campaign for those and then assign that to all those properties you did or you found driving for dollars. Moving through this, right, we do have a custom mailer design system. It is very robust. There's a lot to it. We created each and every one of these aspects of this mailer today. And if you would like to learn more about that, DealMachine.com/training and attend our custom mailer tutorial. We walk through that process from start to finish. And we talk about how to create one. We talk about the different sizes of postcards and what we have available there. Moving on, you've got your mailer queue as well. So when you're sending out mailers, you'd be able to keep track of all of them here. You've also got mailer issues, right? If there were any potential issues, you've got your calendar. You can keep track of when things are to be sent out and what the estimated price is for all of those mailers. And then again, you've got your new campaigns up there. So that is the essence. It's very, very high level of our mailer system. There's a lot more that you can do with it. And again, I would recommend checking out our YouTube and joining our custom mailer tutorial to see a lot more of that. Elise, looking good, sounding good? Wonderful. So moving on, that's mailers. Now we can talk about lists. Now with a list builder subscription, you would have the ability to build custom lists. Now, if you don't have a list builder subscription, you would still be able to create, or I guess build lists from scratch. But if you don't have a list builder subscription, you can still create custom lists based off of bulk selected leads in your leads tab. Now, if you wanted to create those lists from scratch, you would need a list builder subscription, and that's where you would be able to build these lists. You would choose your market first, whether that's zip code, city, or a custom drawn area. So here we are over actually where we just were from that driving route. We could set up a custom area for this. Please don't mind my poorly shaped square. And then we would select our motivators, right? Or our motivations. We can use a quick list. We could use a preset. You could use your driving for dollars presets if you would like to use those as well, or a custom list, which would be all of those filters that you saw in the map tab and all the filters you saw in the leads tab as well. Now, one of the things, and I want to take a brief aside here, at least if I'm allowed to do that, is List Builder is great for lead generation. You should absolutely, if you would like to take advantage of lists, you should definitely do that. Another thing that you can do with lists is also potentially find buyers for your area. A lot of people just think about lists as a form of lead generation, but it can also be used for that finding buyers as well. So say we had a property under contract in this area. If we search for owners of multiple properties, you'll see we have 742 people in that list that own multiple properties in this boundary that we've set up. We can reach out to them and they might be more inclined to invest in another property and add to their portfolio if they already own a few properties as well. So you can think about it that way as well. Again, we have a training specific to this. I talk more about this process there. But I like to make sure everyone is aware of that too. So think of it that way, but that's list building, right? And then you would be able to generate that. It takes only a few minutes to generate that list. And then from there, you can go through and skip trace. You can send mailers. You could filter your list even further down from there, but you have all that control. It all starts with the list builder though. So that is that tab. Elise, anything you'd like to add? Good. All right. So moving on, right, we're going to skip over messages and just jump into the more tabs. So this is where you'll be able to keep track of your team, right? If you do have that elite plan, that's where you'd be able to recruit your drivers. Get free leads. That is actually not purchasing leads, but if you would like to send this promo code out, when you click on it, send that promo code out to your friends. If they sign up with that promo code, you will get $5 in deal credits and they will get $5 in deal credits. So you can definitely take advantage of that. If you have other people you'd like to refer, you both get a little incentive to do that. So make sure you take advantage of that. Selling. These are our new property marketing pages. So we can access them by setting a lead status to closed deal or under contract. I think we changed the wording around for this. But then from there, you would be able to set up these property marketing pages. And that's where you would be able to enter in all the photos you would like to utilize, put in any property details you'd like to have. You can enter in your contact information if you'd like, but all you have to do from there is send out that link, that custom link to Facebook. You can blast it anywhere, and then you can get offers from people who click on that link and submit those through to you. We actually just did a live with our head of product and our head of engineering that talked about this feature. I would definitely recommend checking that out. It was an awesome session there with them.
Yeah, the only thing I have to add to that is you definitely should, because what Dakota doesn't have is what the updated version of this sales page looks like, where there's actually going to be another tab where you're going to have your potential buyers' responses and a list of them. So you literally have your buyers list like right there, who have responded to your sales page. So go check that out on the YouTube channel. It's timestamped, so you can skip right to that part if you're really just interested in that, but it's really awesome. So that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That video was awesome, and it's so good to have Nate and Adam in one spot too. They're a great team members here at DealMachine. And Rick, just to answer your question, yes, you can filter by unit count, right? So you can define that however you would like. And I just did a test with this with somebody in the list builder training not too long ago. And you do have the control to do that. So if you're just looking for single family homes, you can define that between 0 and 1. But if you're looking for a minimum of 5 units up to however many you would like, you would be able to set that as well. Okay, moving on. You've got your settings, right? This is your profile settings. This is where you can track your engines and add-ons. So if you'd like to add, if you're just doing driving for dollars, you'd like to add List Builder too, you can do that there. You can also access our add-ons, which are the advanced campaigns like we talked about, comps, which we covered. We also have Street Pick. So if you obviously like we talked about, you can take photos of properties while you're driving for dollars. But if you're focused on just adding properties, trying to add as many properties as possible, or you're pulling lists, right, and you're not actually seeing these properties, you can utilize Street Pick as an add-on, which will assign a Google Street View photo of that property to your lead, which means you don't have to go through to Google Street View and take a lot of time and edit things, and it becomes a headache to get that photo screenshotted and then assign it to a lead. So you would have that as well. And then I'm missing one. What am I missing? Oh, and mail tracker. So if you'd like to see when your mail has been delivered or when it's scheduled to be delivered, or if something gets returned to sender and you have the mail tracker add-on, we will update that lead status within DealMachine to show that, to represent that in the lead itself. That way you can keep track of that, and you're not going to be sending out any future mailers to something that has been marked return to sender. So those are the add-ons that we have available. And then of course you can import things here as well. You can change the view. If you would like dark mode, you can utilize that too. And then, of course, our Zapier integrations down here as well, which you can take advantage of. And our last tab, unless Elise, you have something to add to that?
I just wanted to say really quick, Peter, if you're really looking to do virtual driving for dollars, I highly recommend Street Pick. only because it is just extremely helpful, like Dakota said, so you don't have to take a picture of it, like screenshot it. And even if you're not sending out mail marketing, it's so nice to have the picture of the house on there. So when, I'm going to say when the seller calls you, then you can actually like reference the property and be like, well, I see that you do, and even if the property's out of date, they'll be like, oh no, I tore that down 2 years ago, and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I must have an out of date picture or something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
No, that was a great addition there. So the last one is our help drop down, right? And this is where you can contact our world-class support team. We have the best support team in the industry. Always give it up to them. They do such a phenomenal job. AJ does such a phenomenal job with his team. So you can reach out to them here if you have any questions. Our average response time is less than 5 minutes, and we've just extended our hours as well. So for those of you who are on the West Coast, you will still be able to get in touch with our CS team up until midnight Eastern time, which would be 9 p.m. Pacific time, and then on weekends until 10 p.m. Eastern time. So they are, again, really the best customer support team in the world. So always reach out to them if you have questions, if you need any sort of help, and there's not a live training or there's not anything going on and you need that quick answer. They are a wonderful team to reach out to. So you have that there. Now we also have instructional videos. If you want to be taken to our YouTube, you can click on that. We've got my favorite tab, and I might be a little bit biased, but that's our live training tab. It will take you to our dealmachine.com/training page if you would like to register for any of those trainings. We've got 4 of them right now: Driving for Dollars, List Builder. We've got one on wholesaling, which goes over that process. And then, like I said, we've got one on our custom mailer tutorial, building out a mailer system that will work for you. So check that out. And we're always looking to add more onto that and to provide more resources for you guys as our members. And then, of course, this one, which we just added, as well as updates. So if you want to see what's happened in DealMachine, what have we recently added? What are we working on? What have we been working on? You can click on this updates tab, and it will take you to a place where you can see all the updates that we've been working on and that we've completed within the most recent up-to-date version of DealMachine. Oh, one thing I skipped over. I don't know how I missed it. Request feature. We love to hear from you guys. We obviously have a lot of ideas of what we'd like to see, but you guys are the ones that make this possible, right? So we would love to hear from you. So you can click on that. It takes you to a forum style page where you can submit features that you would like to see within DealMachine. Nate, our head of product, does go through that weekly, and he loves to hear from you guys. He loves to see what you guys are saying. So definitely make sure you take advantage of that. Submit features you'd like to see and vote on features that people have submitted in the past as well. And you may just see that as part of a future DealMachine update. And I think that is
Can I get just as we're wrapping up the webinar, I am going to answer
oh yes,
I am going to answer Ross, because I think that's a really good question. But I want to, first of all, can we all give a big thank you to Dakota and AJ? They took time out of their evening today, and Dakota did a bomb overview. AJ's been killing it with chat, helping everyone out. So just really appreciate them being here with me tonight. And then Ross, great question. And I know AJ mentioned it as well in there and had a great response. I also wanted to say that Street Pick is great. And the reason why you want to actually take a picture, I will say that, like, if you can take the picture of the property, that is preferred, only because Street Pick is sometimes out of date. And there could have been a tree that fell on it last night, and that will not be updated in the Street Pick. So that's why we say, especially when driving for dollars, going back over those routes that are like red or yellow, or going and driving for dollars and taking that pic while you're there. Now, I will be completely honest. If I am on a busy street, I do not stop and take the picture. I do rely on my Street Pick. It's kind of to your discretion of when you feel like you can and when you can't. But that is the reason why some people do Street Pick and some people don't, especially if, you want to see that up-to-date pic, and now you can add multiple photos to a property, so you can actually add more to, say, like there was a hole in the side of the house, but you got the front of the house too. So, and that even goes into after you close the deal, you can go in, take pictures, and then put that on the sales page for you to post. So that way your potential buyers see everything about that property.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get back to here. Rick, We don't have a shorter way to log out, but you definitely can request that in the feature request that Dakota just showed.
Yeah, and AJ just put a link as well into the chat that he can bookmark
Excellent.
for a quick log out.
Oh, well, look at that. AJ has all the
he's always on it.
things.
He's always on it. Yeah, and one thing, right, is it just again, just quickly with as far as taking photos, right? The reason we want to take photos is so that we can always refer back to them, but also it can help us to include those on our mail marketing, right? People see a photo of their property, they make that connection that, oh, this person was there, they drove by it, even if it's an out of date photo, right? You were in that area, you're potentially local, which can make them feel more comfortable reaching out to you. And all we're trying to do is get that conversation started. So that's why we want to take advantage of that. That's why we want to utilize those photos. So regardless of if you want to do one or both, or one or the other, or both, definitely take advantage of one of those methods so that we can utilize that on our mailers to increase our responses.
Love it. I'm so thankful for both of you guys being here tonight, and for all of you for being here with us and going through this. I think this was I always say this, it's just, these webinars are the most amazing things. Like, we find so many nuggets, and I hope you guys did too, and you got your questions answered. If you didn't, like I said, please feel free to reach out to Hector or one of us through our Instagram or support chat. But again, I hope you all have a wonderful night. And as always, what am I going to say? Happy deal finding.
Happy deal finding, everyone.
Deal finding.